That's a three-quarter mark in 1:29 3/5. Great low water. Little Rocky looks for racing room and can't get out. At the top of the stretch, it's Emily's Pride on the lead. Sandalwood is second. McCovey is third. Great low water is fourth, and that's Mr. Saunders moving in the middle of the racetrack, and he's now fourth. Here comes Little Rocky ranging up on the outside, but on the front end, it's Emily's Pride by a length. Sandalwood is still second. Mr. Saunders is hanging on gamely now, and Little Rocky finishes fourth. Only half a length, but a new Hambletonian record of 1:59 4/5 is posted. As they come into the three-quarter mark in 1:32 2/5. On the lead now, around the turn. It's still Lord Chutney and Diller Hanover fighting it out with the Lodger. As they come into the top of the lane, Diller Hanover is taking the lead now. Lord Chutney seems to be tiring. And now watch Diller Hanover as he loses a shoe and a boot goes flying. It's still Diller Hanover in their second now. It's Serco hanging on. Lady Belvedere is moving up third as they come to the wire.
As they come down the stretch, Ayres is let loose by Simpson, and the crowd sees his number 7 bob to the front in the middle of the track. As they pound for home, the time is phenomenal, and Ayres is heading for a new Hambletonian record and a time with the world mark. When the tiny 900-pounder hits the wire, his time is an unbelievable 1:56 4/5. He goes on to win the second heat easily and chalks up his 10th victory of the year. They reserve the page in the record book for Ayres, the tiny mite with a great big heart.
So Armbro Flight plunges the Hambletonian into darkness in a three-horse race-off between herself, Shortstop, and Egyptian Candor. Film cameras mounted on the grandstand roof will be completely useless by race time, and even some of the spectators will have to read about it in the newspapers next morning. It's Egyptian Candor and driver Del Cameron. Winners finally in a thrilling neck-and-neck, head-and-head battle with Armbro Flight and Joe O'Brien. Noble Victory won the Yonkers Futurity. Armbro Flight will win the Kentucky Futurity. But for tonight, Mrs. Stanley Dancer's homebred colt is the Prince of Darkness. A real moonshot for Egyptian Candor.
Over to the three-quarter mile mark, Carlisle leads at the three-quarters in 1:30 3. Shatterway is still right there second. Here comes Kerry Way up on the outside, and Polaris looking for racing room. As they enter the stretch, it's Carlisle with the lead. Kerry Way is closing, and Polaris moves out for the final drive. Kerry Way now gets the lead, and here comes Polaris. It's Kerry Way under a drive, Polaris coming at her. But it's Kerry Way. Kerry Way winning the Hambletonian by a neck. Polaris is second, Shatterway third, Armbro Gazelle fourth, and Broker's Choice fifth. And the mile in 1:59 3/5.
And Nevele Pride pours it on. He's now in front by 4 lengths and widening out without effort. It is Nevele Pride leading now by 5.5 lengths around the turn to the three-quarter mile mark. Nevele Pride past the three-quarters in 1:30 4/5. Here comes Keystone Spartan, moves up now past the tiring Carolyn Sue. It is Nevele Pride at the head of the stretch. He's in front by 7 lengths. Keystone Spartan is second. Racing in third is Diller Hanover, and Lorenzo Hanover is fourth. In the final eighth of a mile, Nevele Pride is drawing away. He has opened 7 lengths on the field. Nevele Pride coming to the wire, cruising by 5.5 lengths. Keystone Spartan second, Dart Hanover third, Lorenzo Hanover fourth, Master Yankee fifth, a mile in 1:59 2/5.
And Nevele Pride's straight heat Hambletonian victory was so devastating that he never saw another horse in front of him at any time on either trip. Far behind him, but still on their way to the bank, were Keystone Spartan and Dart Hanover with second and third money respectively. Owned by Ben and Julia Slutsky's Nevele Acres Stable in the Catskills and by Louis Resnick of Ellenville, New York, Nevele Pride is a Stars Pride colt out of the Hootman mare, Thankful. He was purchased privately for $20,000 as a yearling by the Nevele Acres stable, and his Hambletonian victory today pushes his earnings well past the $500,000 mark. When this colt eats cigarettes and caretaker's fingers for breakfast, he's likely establishing a whole new trend in horse nutrition. Winner already of the Yonkers Futurity, Nevele Pride will go on from here to win the Kentucky Futurity, and thus the Triple Crown of trotting. Only Scott Frost, Speedy Scott, and Ayres have accomplished this in the past. Well, it's a great day for Stanley Dancer, too. This classic has been a real will-o'-the-wisp for him.
Stanley, your first Hambletonian victory, how does it compare with some of the other big ones?
This is the biggest thrill of my life. I win bigger races, but this is the biggest to me.
In comparison, how about the horse? How's Nevele Pride?
Well, I think he's the greatest horse I ever had. There's any doubt in my mind, and we'll find out a little later on when we'll set him on. But he's a great horse.
Congratulations, Stan.
Thank you.
Nevele Pride, rated by many as the very possible successor to Greyhound in the trotting world record books. Today, he did nothing to change their mind.
Turning for home, the leader, Diane, but Lindy's Pride drives up on the outside to challenge the head of the stretch. Lindy's Pride coming on, Diane down along the inside. Armbro Jet trotting third, the Prophet and Smoky Morn. It's Diane on the inside, Lindy's Pride on the outside. Armbro Jet third. To the stretch, Diane down on the inside, but Lindy's Pride coming on. And it's Lindy's Pride winning the Hambletonian, the mile in 1:58 and 2/5.
Three-quarters comes Super Bowl. Here comes Delmonica Hanover up on the outside again. Three-quarters in 1:28 flat. And it's Super Bowl leading the way as Delmonica Hanover charges up at him. Stanley Dancer waves his whip and Super Bowl responds. Into the stretch, Super Bowl trotting strongly leads the way by 2. Racing in second, Delmonica Hanover flushes third, and Super Bowl is roaring away in the final 8th of the mile. Super Bowl roaring away from Delmonica Hanover and winning the Hambletonian. And it is Super Bowl home in 1:56 and 2/5, a new Hambletonian and world record.
The fastest mile by a 3-year-old trotter in the long history of harness racing. For trainer-driver Stanley Dancer, and for owners Rachel Dancer and Hilda Silverstein, for excited young fans Sirpa Hallanine, and for Super Bowl himself, this is where the road to DuQuoin had been leading. Up the red carpeted path, into one of the most exclusive enclosures in all of sport, the Hambletonian Winner's Circle, Victory Lane in DuQuoin. Years of waiting and hoping, months of training, days of problems and disappointments, hours of bright promise and accomplishment. They all merged here in minutes of superb performance by a horse destined to become Trotter of the Year. From that long road with its bittersweet turns came Super Bowl, King of Trotters, and his happy court.